Greetings, dear, precious, magnificent spirit, soul, divine being that you are. It's such a privilege to be able to share with you what I have found in all my research that I have been doing for myself, and then to offer the results that I find that work best for me to others. And then you then decide what it is you want to apply in making good habits. So my topic is making prospering habits. Okay. Now, we all tend to be creatures of habit. We do things habitually. I notice that, like with dancing. And if you notice, people will dance, and this guy, this is his one. He always does this. Then someone else said, oh, this is mine. This is my step. I do this one. I do this one. Well, when we have habits, it's like an old record player where you had the needle, and it would keep going around making deeper and deeper grooves in the habit. So they become very entrenched. So certain things that we hear over and over again becomes a habit that we believe that's the way it is. But this is truth. And anybody that says anything different, well, that's not the truth, because I learned this in school, and this is what my teachers told me, and I have many degrees on this, and it tells me I'm an authority of memorization, basically. And then I could get the job because I got the job because I'd done the memorizing. But what I noticed about, even when I went to seminary, didn't teach me how to have a church and to do a ministry. I had to go figure that out myself. So I went and did my own research to find out what other people did to do that very same thing. And being creatures of habit, some of our habits are very destructive. Habits in thinking, habits in speaking, habits in our activities in eating. Like if you notice, I've been working on my digestion, and I was just doing sloppy things like drinking water right after I ate or something like that. You can't do that because digestion is fire. And that digestion in the stomach, you don't put water on it because water puts out the fire. You have to wait 2 or 3 hours before, and then you drink liquids. So just simple things like that. But yet, and I was telling one friend about it, and he says, oh, no, I just use water to wash down the food. Well, you could do that, but it's not going to give you good health. And the system of the body isn't going to function for you in the best way because of habits in eating. And yet we get addicted to those habits, whether it's addicted to sugar, which is, we know what it does to people, and yet it's very hard for people. So what I say to people, if you want to change your habit in eating, you want to have the best. So if you're going to do sweet things, take a look. There's dates. They're wonderful. There's certain fruits that are wonderful. There's maybe maple syrup. And honey is kind of an interesting thing, but I'm studying it, looking at it, because, the pollen gets caught on the legs of the bee, and then they eat it. They eat that pollen, and it goes into the stomach, and they vomit up. I'm sorry, but this is the truth. The honey. And that is in food for the bees, and then special honey is food for the queen bee. Remember, they have hive mentality. So if you're eating that and you're putting that into your body in a situation, I'm just kind of on to the insects right now and doing gardening and doing work. And the best thing is always prevention and not having to try and get rid of something once it gets there. So take a look at the habits that you have, your habits in relationship. And I know that I'd choose the men in my life based on a program, a habitual program. And I began then to notice that if someone was my style or my type, don't go talk to that person because you don't want to be around them if that person is your type. So, when people complain about their relationship, you say, well, how's it working for you? Maybe you should choose somebody that isn't your so-called type anymore because your type isn't working out for you. So that, and you take a look at that habits and everything that we do. So like I get back to the dancing. that when we're in a habit, it then makes these stuck programs in the mind. Like even if you go drive the same way to work every day, or you have your same routine. Routines are wonderful in a certain way, especially like if you start the day with your meditation and you do some reading, or just get yourself centered in your heart right away. And then take a look at what do you want to accomplish today? What do you want to do? And then take a look at some of the new habits. And how you get rid of a bad habit is you replace it with a good habit. And how you make habits is through repetition. And repetition is a wonderful thing because you can use it to benefit you, but if you don't use it consciously, some of our repetitive our habits, which are repetitive, are unconscious and they're working against us. So how do you get rid of a bad habit? Years ago when I was drinking alcohol and using that as my medicine to help me relax or do whatever I thought it was doing, and I started to realize that the downside of it was so much worse than the little bit of relaxation or fun or whatever I thought I was getting from it, was working against me. And then I realized, as I started noticing how my body smelled, how I didn't sleep well, what I would say to people, all the stuff I would do. And it just reinforces the mind, because then when people are drinking alcohol, they just live in the mind. And the mind is the greatest terrorist weapon that's ever been invented until you control it. And you have to control your mind. If you don't control your mind, the mind is controlling you. And like Richard Dick, I believe. No, his name is Philip Dick. And he was a science fiction writer. He said this whole reality is controlled by words. And whoever controls the meanings of words controls the people. And then you have to look at, where do we get the meanings? Where do we set up our habits in living and in relationship or anything? It becomes what we've been programmed to do, and we do it over and over again instead of reevaluating ourselves and our situation and take a look. My habits are knocking me out. My habits are not giving me what I like. And then you have to look at, some people say, well, in this lifetime I wasn't blessed for that, or it's not in my chart. My astrology chart tells me I'm going to have this and it's going to be bad and I better be like this. And wait a minute, why would you let anything in the printed word like that be who and what controls you as an absolute? You would use knowledge as a way to really help you to discern what is good for you and what isn't. Not that you're just taking in information from whoever is giving it to you and developing your life out of that when they don't know anything about life, because you are life. It isn't what happens to you. So it's like even in singing or dancing, do a different step. When you go out to the dance floor, think of it as an athletic event, and you don't have to have a dance floor. Some markets have a good floor you could dance on a little bit. At home you could dance. When you take a little walk, you do a little different. But work all the body when you do the dance. Don't just in a habit, and it's a rut, and people are in a rut, and they're in a rut. They say that. I remember when I used to be dating and all that kind of stuff, I meet these guys, they give you a line, and it would be just like it was out of a movie or a play, or they're trying to impress you. And all of us, we're out there trying to impress people with how fabulous we are. We don't like ourselves, but maybe they'll like me. And then again, they don't like me. So again, something's wrong with me because then I'm not good enough and they don't want me. And nobody will ever want me because I'm just not good enough. And all of these are programs. And these are habitual programs that are running continuously and drawing from our energy, life force, and using our energy and our life force to produce disasters and torture and disease and misery and war and fighting and unhappiness and conflict. This is not our nature. This keeps a virtual reality going with sides and teams, and people in a rut, and a habitual rut of going through the motions and living lives of quiet desperation, as Emerson said, a philosopher. And yet all of it can change immediately when you consciously make habits that work for you. You know, some people spend more time planning a 2-week vacation than they do taking a look at their eternal life and what they really want to invest in their own consciousness, in their own success, in their own work, in their relationships and everything, because our nature is magnificent and beautiful and glorious and divinely happy. Bliss is just, and my book, Live Your Bliss, is an excellent book to be reading, because your life starts when you're in bliss, because bliss is you without the mind dragging you down, beating you up, telling you what's possible, what isn't possible, afraid of what other people think, what they're going to do, what's going to happen to me, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. It's your movie. So what do you want to have happen? Do you have the habits, the consciousness that would allow that to be? And how do you start now? And you take a look at, okay, and I know when I took lessons from the maestro, and that's the value of a great teacher. They know how to help you attain what you want, because it helps you then to develop the habits, the routines, if it may be, the way you are with people, the way you are with yourself, how to heal your body, and all of these has to do with your consciousness. And all things are possible for you. And to do that, you need to look at, what do I need to know and what do I need to do in order for me to attain what is in my heart that I want to fulfill? All things are possible. So how you develop new habits is you start today. And every time you fall off the wagon, you get back on again. You didn't say, well, I gave up the food plan, so I might as well binge. No, that's what you needed to do. Fine. Don't beat yourself up. And that's what most people do. They use their higher self to tell them what a loser they are and how stupid they are, and make them feel bad again. And so then you give up, and it looks too hard because you're trying to make everybody out there fall in love with you so you could finally feel good enough when they don't even like themselves. How are they ever going to like and even know you? So that's the key. Make prospering habits, habits that allow you to experience the beauty and the fullness of every single moment of your eternal existence. The habit of being you to the full. Be you to the full, because you are beautiful. In any way I can assist, just email me, contact me. I'm there for you. And that is my joy in living, is contributing to others, because that's what makes me happy. And that happiness is our natural state of being when we are being who we are naturally, and we love to play. And we love to sing, and we love to dance, we love to create, we love to be who we are. And when we understand that and understand it and give ourselves permission, and that's all you need, is you give yourself permission. Today is the first moment, the first day of your eternal life. And you could choose how you want that day to be. And you also look at the word day is days. It is a hypnotic trance for a week. So you get weakened on the weekend, and you can rest up so you can get back into the rat race again. And notice it isn't a rat race, and it's not a dog-eat-dog world at all. Your world is divine when you acknowledge and be who you are. Mm-hmm.